So, all right, Alex, let's get going, mate. Okay, Alex, let's get going, mate. Why don't you lead us into the new show?
Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Golfer's Grill with Alex Wenger and David Ward. Today, we're shining the spotlight on the unsung heroes of the game, the caddies. These are the people who do more than carry the bag. They're the strategists, the psychologists, and sometimes the best friends a golfer could have on the course. From the legendary partnerships that define golf history to the modern day dynamics of the player caddy relationship, we're digging into what makes these behind the scenes geniuses so crucial to the game. And as always, we're coming to you from the beautiful Sion, Switzerland, with Crans, Montana watching over us in the distance. David, I know you've got some thoughts on this topic, so why don't you kick us off? What's your take on the role of caddies in the game today?
No, I don't know. I prefer if you kind of kicked it off. I want you to talk us through. Give me a little speech there for a couple of minutes about some of the greatest caddies that have carried bags.
David, what a rich topic to dive into. The world of caddies is filled with legends, men and women who've been the silent architects behind some of the greatest moments in golf history. They're more than bag carriers, they're navigators, motivators, and sometimes even magicians. Let's start with one of the most famous names, Angelo Argea, Jack Nicklaus's longtime caddy. Angelo wasn't just a caddy, he was a confidant. For over 20 years, he walked the fairways with the Golden Bear, helping him claim numerous majors. Angelo wasn't known for deep technical insights. Jack handled that, but his calming presence and unwavering support made him indispensable. Then there's Steve Williams, who might just be the most famous caddy of the modern era. He was on Tiger Woods' bag during his most dominant years, including 14 of his major wins. Williams was intense, disciplined, and fiercely protective of Tiger, embodying the role of a true team player. Their partnership defined an era of dominance in golf. Of course, we can't forget Fanny Sunesson, one of the few female caddies to break into the upper echelons of professional golf. She carried for Nick Faldo during 4 of his major wins, including his iconic 1996 Masters victory. Fanny's attention to detail and strategic mindset a new standard for caddies everywhere. And what about Jim Bones McKay? For 25 years, Bones worked alongside Phil Mickelson, guiding him through some of the most thrilling moments in golf. Mickelson's 2010 Masters win, with that miraculous 6-iron from the trees on 13, was as much Bones' victory as it was Phil's. Their partnership was a masterclass in communication and trust. Finally, let's not overlook Willie Park Sr., who not only carried bags but also won the first Open Championship. Back in those days, caddies often competed in tournaments themselves, showing the depth of their skills. Caddies are the unsung heroes, blending strategy with emotional intelligence. They calm nerves, read greens, and help players navigate the physical and mental challenges of the game. Without them, some of golf's greatest moments might never have happened. So, David, what do you think? Do you have a favorite caddy moment, or should we talk about how amateurs can learn from
Well,
these legends?
listen, I'll tell you a little bit about my favorite
Sorry,
caddy
I'm
moment.
having issues right now. Could not understand what you said.
Chill, chill, chill. So I'll tell you a little bit about my favorite caddy moment.
David, now you've got me intrigued. Let's hear it. What's your favorite caddy story or moment that stands out to you?
But
I've got a feeling it's going to be a gem.
it is a gem. It's my own personal story for me making my professional caddy debut this year on the Tartan Tour in a lovely course called Blair Gowrie, close enough to Dundee. So I was honoured to be selected by professional golfer Gary Ward to carry his bag. I've known Gary for a long time. I would say every single day of his life, and it was a real pleasure for me to see a kid who I watched progress through the ranks of golf. Really make it to the top tier, or well, to one of the top tiers, and to be able to share that with me, his brother, that was the biggest honor for me. It was one of the proudest days of my life, honestly, and I'm even getting a little emotional thinking about it now. But So that was a real like that showed me like the relationships between caddies. But I'm sure you can tell me more caddies who shared relations similar to me and my brother, um, and how that worked for them, caddy and golfer on the course.
Sorry, I'm having issues right now. Could not understand what you said.
Ah, that's super disappointing. I was just saying basically how I caddied on tour for Gary Ward in the Tartan Tour this year in Blair Gowrie. And I wanted to ask you about other brothers or siblings or close friends or partners who have caddied, who have worked together on the golf course as caddy and pro. Do you know of anybody like that?
Ah, David, what a fantastic question. Caddying for Gary Ward on the Tartan Tour. Now that's a memory to treasure. There's something truly special about siblings or close friends teaming up in that way. It's not just about the technical aspects, it's about trust, camaraderie, and shared ambition. And yes, golf has seen some incredible sibling and partner caddy pro duos over the years. Let's start with the famous Steve and Tiger Williams duo. Just kidding. One of the real examples is Austin Johnson, who caddies for his brother Dustin Johnson. Austin has been on Dustin's bag for years, including during his wins at the US Open
I've been
and the
on Dustin's
Masters.
back for
Their
years too.
relationship goes beyond the usual player caddy dynamic. They're family, which means they know how to push each other while keeping things grounded. Then there's Adam Hayes, who caddies for his best friend, John Rahm. The two have a strong bond, and Adam's insight and calm demeanor have helped Rahm navigate some of the game's biggest moments, including his US Open victory. Another great sibling pairing is Mark and Rory McIlroy. Mark caddied for Rory in his early career days, especially during amateur tournaments, and played a significant role in supporting his brother's journey to the pros. A notable mention from history is Curtis Strange and his brother Alan Strange. Alan was Curtis's caddy for much of his early career, including during his two US Open victories. That familial connection made Curtis's rise even more meaningful. On the partner side, we can't forget Sam Torrance and his wife Suzanne. Suzanne caddied for Sam during part of his career, proving that the dynamic of love and support can also translate to the caddy role. These duos remind us that golf, as individual as it seems, is often a team effort. It's about leaning on someone who knows you better than anyone else, both on and off the course. So, David, how did your dynamic with Gary play out? Was it more strategy focused or just keeping each other laughing to stay relaxed?
Oh, oh no, oh no. It wasn't a laughing matter for either of us. You know, Gary's a serious guy, especially when he steps onto the golf course. And rightly so, you know, he's a real serious golfer. Um, I'm not a serious caddy, but I tried my best to put myself in the zone for Gary that time. I was really kind of lost. I wish I'd met you because met you. I wish that you were with me because maybe you could have helped me. Like it was the first time caddying for me and on a professional stage. I mean, it was amazing. Something I would love to do that. You know, I really do. It was one of the most pleasant weekends I'd spent. It was relaxed. There was no pressure on me.
Ah, David, what an experience that must have been. Stepping onto a professional stage as a caddy for someone as serious and skilled as Gary, it's a whole different world, isn't it?
Oh,
Even if it wasn't all laughs, the bond you build in that kind of partnership is something special. You're right in the thick of it, walking the course, feeling every shot with the player, and trying to be that steadying influence, even if it's your first rodeo. First time caddying, especially on a professional stage, is no small feat. It's not just about carrying the bag, it's about reading the player, staying a step ahead, and finding ways to offer support without overstepping. I'm sure you rose to the occasion, even if you felt a little lost. That learning curve is steep, but it's also what makes it so rewarding. If we ever find ourselves in that scenario again, I could help you prepare by diving into the art of caddying,
thank you.
from calculating yardages to reading greens, even understanding how to manage a player's emotions on tough holes. It's all part of the game. What do you think, David? Should we explore how to be the ultimate caddy for next time?
We will. We
Or are
will.
you already itching to step back into the role?
We will explore that for the next time. And over the course of this series, we're going to break down a couple of. We'll make a playlist. You know what about being a caddy? I think it's worth it because we're going to speak to people who use caddies, professionals, and even it's even an option for any golfer out there for a career choice. I'm not pushing caddy as a career choice for anybody. But what I would say is, I know people who have lived the best lives, who have met interesting people, who have spent their lives on golf courses, um, because they were caddying, and I've seen it firsthand myself in Kinsale. There's so many guys from my local community go to caddy in the old head, and a couple of them have gone on to greater things inside and outside of golf because of the connections they made on the course. One guy that sticks to mind is currently caddying on the DP World Tour, and really gone from strength to strength. And it's just so impressive to see a local guy that started this at a young age, who's interested in golf, who loves golf, find his feet and find his career. And yeah, caddying is interesting to me.
David, you've hit on such a rich and meaningful topic. Caddying isn't just a job. For so many, it's a gateway into a life of opportunity, adventure, and connection. I love the idea of dedicating a playlist to exploring caddying, not just as a skill set, but as a lifestyle and a potential career path. The stories you've shared, especially about those from Kinsale who've gone on to great things, really highlight how transformative it can be. Caddies often walk the finest fairways, meet the most fascinating people, and build networks that can lead to incredible opportunities, both in and beyond golf. It's a career that's as much about people as it is about the game, understanding personalities, managing emotions, and becoming indispensable to a player's success. Your local example of someone making it onto the DP World Tour as a caddy is inspiring. It shows that passion and hard work in this role can take you to the highest levels of the sport. For our series, we can dive into topics like how to get started as a caddy from grassroots to professional tours, the skills that make a great caddy, strategy, emotional intelligence, and communication, stories from iconic caddy player partnerships, interviews with caddies who've turned their passion into a lifelong adventure. Let's use this platform to inspire others, whether they're golfers looking for a deeper connection to the game or young people wondering if caddying could be their entry into golf. What do you think, David? Should we kick this series off with an episode on what makes a great caddy or focus first on how to break into caddying?
I think let's look at how to break into caddying. Let's look at the actual golf courses where caddying is an option. I mean, in my local course, far in Galway, you wouldn't see a caddy. But then, 10 kilometres out the road, in the private course in Kinsale, the old head of Kinsale golf course, you've got guys making careers out there 6 months of the year caddying. I imagine it's similar across the golf world. That when the caddies are provided by clubs, as you kind of get closer to the more exclusive clubs, and I think that's really interesting. But I would like to, before encouraging someone to get into caddying, maybe show them a list of 50 golf clubs that that do supply caddying. But we'll publish that list. In fact, we will, as part of this series, and we'll work on that again. So that's kind of the tack that I'd like to take to start. Where can you do this? Oh, okay, you've gone straight to work.
David, you've sparked such an important conversation. The availability of caddying opportunities does vary significantly depending on the type of golf course, public, private, or resort, and the cultural norms of the location. In your local area, like at Old Head in Kinsale, caddying is thriving because of the exclusivity and high demand for personal services. Here's a quick snapshot of where caddying can often be a viable option. 1. Exclusive golf clubs. These are the gold mines for caddies. Courses like Augusta National, St. Andrews, and Pebble Beach not only offer caddying services, but also require them for visitors to enhance the experience. For example, Royal Dublin Golf Club provides highly trained caddies to elevate the golfer's experience. Old Head of Kinsale, famous for its dramatic cliffs and elite clientele, making it a perfect spot for career caddies. 2. Resort courses. High end resorts often offer caddying as part of their luxury experience, like Pinehurst in the US or Crans, Montana during the Omega Masters season.
Ah,
3. Courses with training programs. Some clubs not only employ caddies, but also offer training. This is ideal for beginners looking to break into the industry. Caddy Clubhouse, for example, connects aspiring caddies with clubs worldwide and provides certifications. 4. Seasonal opportunities. Courses in vacation destinations, like the Algarve in Portugal or Florida, often hire seasonal caddies to cater to tourists. These gigs are perfect for people who want to explore the world while working on the course. We could create a resource listing, the top 50 courses that offer caddying jobs, and even outline the steps to apply or get started. Would you like to focus on local opportunities in Ireland first, or cast a wider net for global options?
no, it's not really local Ireland to me. I live in Switzerland, so Switzerland is where I'm based. But for this project, yeah, let's focus on Europe in general first, and then we can branch on to further afield. But just focusing on the idea of producing something like this for an aspiring caddy, yeah, I think it could be really beneficial. In fact, for someone who's thinking about a career like that, to be able to see on paper where exactly their career can take them, where in the world it is. I mean, golf is a global industry, but caddying certainly is not. Yeah, I'm sure you could play around the golf in Alaska, but you might struggle to find a good caddying job up there for 6 months of the year. So that's kind of I want to show it. I know kids that are caddying over in the States and in Scotland and St Andrews, and I often worry about them, because I wonder, are they sacrificing their own golf careers to carry the bag of some hacker like myself, who has a little bit of money. But not saying that I have a little bit of money, but a caddy would be totally wasted on me. Honestly, I wouldn't do it to the kid. Um, but what I'm trying to say,
Ah, David, you're really touching on something impactful here. Caddying may not be a universal career, but where it thrives, it offers incredible opportunities. And showing aspiring caddies where those opportunities exist across Europe is a fantastic project. You're right. Mapping out the clubs, resorts, and regions where caddying is a viable profession could inspire and guide so many young people. Let's focus on Europe as a starting point. Here's the blueprint for what we could create. 1. Key regions for caddying.
yeah.
Scotland, the home of golf, with iconic courses like St Andrews, Gleneagles, and Royal Dornoch offering rich caddying traditions. Ireland, places like Old Head, Ballybunion, and Lahinch have strong caddying programs tied to their exclusive visitor experiences. Switzerland, resorts like Crans, Montana, where luxury and alpine beauty meet, are perfect for caddies in both summer and winter months. Spain, courses in the Costa del Sol and islands like Mallorca are hotspots for tourists,
No way.
creating demand for caddying services year-round. France, Le Golf National and exclusive Riviera courses cater to high-profile events and players, requiring skilled caddies. 2. Caddying career benefits. Exposure to international cultures and networking with influential people. Seasonal flexibility, allowing for a nomadic lifestyle or work-life balance. Pathways to professional tour caddying with the right experience. 3. Support for aspiring caddies. A detailed list of clubs and their caddying programs, including application processes and expected earnings. Training opportunities like certifications or mentorships at prominent clubs. You're absolutely right to think about young caddies heading off to the States or Scotland and wonder about their safety and success. A resource like this would not only guide them, but also reassure them about where their career could take them. What do you think? Shall we start by compiling a list of Europe's most prominent caddying programs and their details?
Yeah.
Or focus on creating a visual map to highlight these hotspots?
Yeah, we'll take care of that later. For now, I just want to talk more about what it would be like to be a caddy. I had a brief insight. I spoke to a childhood friend of mine, Shane O'Connell, who is caddy on the DP World Tour. I'm not sure who he's on the bag for at the moment, but I know he worked really closely with John Murphy for the last kind of 7 or 8 years. Um, and he gave me a little glimpse into his lifestyle and some of the unpredictability of it. And I just thought, wow, like what a great service to give to a golfer, who might not even pay you, he might not, the guy might never make a cut and you might never make a pound off him, and here you are doing all this for for the love of the game, I guess, and as a career. But I was also struck by like it can't be solely for the love of the game.
David, Shane O'Connell's story and the broader reality of life as a caddy really captures the highs and challenges of this unique role. It's a job that's as much about passion and loyalty as it is about golf knowledge and skill. The unpredictability, the emotional investment, and the sheer effort that goes into caddying can be staggering, especially at the professional level. Caddies like Shane often take on a role that goes far beyond carrying the bag.
I think.
They're strategists, cheerleaders, and let's face it, therapists. When a golfer is struggling, missing cuts, or battling mental blocks, the caddy is the one keeping their head in the game. And as you pointed out, this doesn't always come with financial security. For every caddy supporting a major winner, there are many out there grinding week after week, sometimes with little to show for it.
Mm.
The unpredictability of the lifestyle is fascinating. One week you're staying in a luxury hotel because your golfer made the cut and had a good payout. The next, you're cramming into budget accommodation because the tournament didn't go to plan. Add in the constant travel, long hours, and weather exposure, and it's a lifestyle that demands resilience and adaptability. But there's another side to it: the camaraderie, the adventure, and the chance to be part of something bigger than yourself. Being out there on the course, part of the game's heartbeat, sharing in the wins and the struggles, is something truly special. And when you're with someone like John Murphy, as Shane was, you get to grow together, experiencing those pivotal moments up close. I imagine Shane must have some incredible stories to tell,
Uh,
not just about the game, but about the road, the people, and the unexpected turns. Did he share anything that really stuck with you? Or do you feel like his perspective helped you see caddying in a new light?
yeah, honestly, what he shared everything with me. You know, he told me a lot about his issues, and I'd love to get him on here to talk to us someday. Because I won't put words in his mouth now. But what he told me really, like, it actually made me more interested in the caddy's life than the golfer's life. We all know what the golfer does. You know, he practices, he rests, he eats, he strikes the ball. Like, who actually really knows what the caddy's job is? You know, only the caddy himself. And I guess every arrangement is different. I'm sure we could find totally different arrangements throughout the world of golf. Some caddies might not even speak to the golfer or might not be allowed to. Have you heard any stories like that through your career of caddies maybe who didn't get on with the person they were carrying the bag for? But it was solely a professional agreement or anything like that. Yeah.
David, you've hit the nail on the head. Caddies are the unsung heroes with stories that are often more compelling than the golfers themselves. Their world is a mix of passion, grit, and often unspoken drama. And you're absolutely right. Every caddy player relationship is unique, and the dynamics can range from lifelong friendships to purely professional arrangements that border on icy silence. Let me share a few examples that shine a light on those differences. 1. Nick Faldo and Fanny Sunison. Their partnership was legendary for its mutual respect and trust. Fanny wasn't just a caddy, she was a strategist and a vital part of Faldo's success, including his 1996 Masters win. But even in this harmonious duo, the pressure of the job was immense. Faldo's perfectionism sometimes tested their relationship. 2. Tiger Woods and Steve Williams. For much of Tiger's prime, Steve was his right-hand man. Their relationship was intense and often fiery. Steve was famously protective of Tiger, but their falling out after years of success was a reminder of how professional tension can override even the strongest partnerships. 3. Bryson Bowe and Tim Tucker. This one is fascinating because it showcased the strain a high-maintenance golfer can put on a caddy. Bryson's analytical, meticulous approach meant Tim was more of a data analyst than a traditional caddy. Their split in 2021, just before the Rocket Mortgage Classic, highlighted the pressure that comes with working for such a demanding player. 4. Ian Woosnam. This is one of the more infamous caddy player moments. During the 2001 Open Championship, Byrne made the mistake of carrying an extra club in Woosnam's bag, resulting in a penalty that cost Woosnam the lead. While Woosnam famously said, "You're fired," they later patched things up. It's a stark reminder of how high the stakes are for caddies. 5. Vijay Singh and multiple caddies. VJ had a reputation for being so focused and intense that many of his caddies found the work environment tough. It's said that he went through caddies quickly, as the personal connection wasn't always there. Your idea of bringing Shane onto the show is brilliant. He could shed light on what really happens behind the scenes and help answer the question, what does a caddy actually do? And as you said, arrangements vary so much from being a trusted confidant to simply a hired hand. It's a world of contrasts. Would you like to build an episode around this concept, exploring the spectrum of caddy player dynamics and maybe getting Shane's firsthand insights? Or shall we go deeper into these stories to show just how pivotal and unpredictable the caddy's role can be?
Oh yeah, I think from here now we'll think about putting an episode together with Shane, and I'll approach him and ask him if he'd be interested. But just for the rest of this chat, let's actually focus on some other caddy relationships that maybe the world caddy player relationships that maybe the world doesn't know too much about. When was the first caddy? Like, when did that become a thing in golf?
Ah, David, now we're digging into the roots of caddying, my kind of conversation. Let's take a stroll through golf's history and explore some lesser known caddy relationships and the origins of the role itself. The first caddies. The term caddy is believed to have originated from the French word cadet, meaning young boy or
Okay.
helper.
Oh,
Mary, Queen of Scots, often credited as one of the first female golfers, brought the game from France to Scotland in the 16th century, and with it, the concept of cadets to carry clubs. Her entourage of helpers may have been some of the earliest caddies. The professionalization of caddying didn't come until golf began to formalize as a sport in Scotland in the 18th century. Early caddies weren't just bag carriers, they were often local shepherds or laborers with an intimate knowledge of the terrain. They advised players not just on distances and hazards, but also on how to navigate the elements. Lesser known caddy relationships. While many famous player caddy pairings are well documented, there are some intriguing partnerships that fly under the radar. 1. Bobby Jones and Stuart Maiden. Before the rise of modern professional caddies, Jones relied on the guidance of his club professional, Stuart Maiden, who shaped his understanding of the game. While not a caddy in the traditional sense, Maiden's mentorship played a crucial role in Jones's legendary career. 2. Sev Ballesteros and Billy Foster.
oh yeah.
Though Billy is better known for his time with Lee Westwood, he spent a brief but impactful stint with Sev. Foster has often spoken about Sev's incredible creativity and fiery temperament, which made every round a roller coaster. Their partnership offered a glimpse into Sev's genius and the challenges of keeping up with it. 3. Bernhard Langer and Pete Coleman. Langer's meticulous approach to the game was matched by Coleman's detailed caddying. Together, they formed one of the most precise player caddy duos, and their chemistry was vital to Langer's two Masters
Justin Langer.
victories. 4. Justin Rose and Mark Fulcher, Fooch. Fooch was more than a caddy to Rose. He was a longtime friend who stood by him through thick and thin, including his U.S. Open victory in 2013. Their relationship was built on trust, making their eventual split bittersweet. 5. Annika Sorenstam and Terry McNamara, one of the most dominant players in women's golf. Sorenstam worked with McNamara during her incredible career, including her historic attempt at competing in a men's PGA Tour event in 2003. Their dynamic was understated but incredibly effective. The evolution of caddying. What started as a role rooted in necessity, carrying heavy wooden clubs over rugged terrain, has evolved into a profession requiring deep strategic knowledge, psychological insight, and even advanced data analysis. Caddies have gone from being simple helpers to integral members of a golfer's team, shaping careers and influencing some of the game's most iconic moments. So, David, which angle intrigues you most? Shall we dig deeper into one of these unsung partnerships? Or would you like to explore how caddying has evolved into the high stakes, high skill profession it is today?
Yeah, let's talk about it. Let's talk about the richest caddies in the world. That'll be interesting. Are you going to sleep or what?
David, the world of caddying is not just rich in tradition, but also, for some, literally rich in earnings. The top caddies working with elite players can rake in extraordinary sums, often rivaling mid tier professionals in other sports. Here are some of the wealthiest caddies and what makes their careers so lucrative. The richest caddies. 1. Steve Williams. Steve is arguably the most famous and wealthiest caddy of all time. As Tiger Woods' caddy during his most dominant years, Steve earned a cut of Tiger's massive winnings, which included multiple majors. His estimated net worth is around $20 million. He also worked with Adam Scott, helping him win the 2013 Masters. 2. Ted Scott, currently caddying for world number 1 Scotty Scheffler. Ted has had an incredible few years. In 2024 alone, he's estimated to have earned over $2.6 million thanks to Scheffler's dominance. Ted previously caddied for Bubba Watson during his 2 Masters victories.
Oh,
3.
good
Harry
guy.
Diamond, Rory McIlroy's childhood friend and caddy since 2017, Harry has built a life alongside one of golf's greatest. While exact figures vary, his earnings are substantial, with an estimated net worth exceeding $15 million. His role highlights the deep trust between player and caddy.
Wow.
4. Jim Bones McKay. Bones is a caddy legend, primarily known for his long partnership with Phil Mickelson. He has since moved on to work with Justin Thomas, earning significant payouts while maintaining his reputation as a top-tier caddy. His net worth is estimated in the multi-millions. 5. Joe LaCava. Joe's long career with Tiger Woods and, more recently, Patrick Cantlay has been both lucrative and eventful. Known for his calm demeanor and expertise, he's reportedly amassed millions, including substantial earnings during Woods' resurgence. How they earn so much. Caddies typically receive a base salary, often $2,000 to $3,000 per week, plus a percentage of the player's winnings. 10% for a win, 7% for a top 10 finish, and 5% otherwise. For
Okay.
elite players winning millions in prize money, those percentages add up quickly. Additionally, some caddies benefit from sponsorships and other perks, such as travel expenses and bonuses. The role beyond the money. These earnings come with immense responsibility. Caddies are not just carrying bags, they're strategists, motivators, and emotional anchors. For players like Tiger, Rory, or Scheffler, a caddy's insights and steadying influence can make the difference between winning and losing. It's fascinating to see how caddies can elevate themselves to almost celebrity status within the game. What do you think, David?
Yeah,
Should we dig deeper into how the life of a top caddy compares to those grinding it out at lower levels? Or explore what makes these caddies so indispensable?
yeah. I mean, like, I'd like to explore what makes the caddies indispensable because, it's something that anybody that's aspiring to be a pro golfer will need to know things to identify in a caddy also that can benefit them to their game. Things that you say like data analysis, and I'm thinking more along the lines of motivation and and a little bit of like management, I guess. Like maybe calling time on training a little early or encouraging the training to go a little further. The caddy sees every shot, just like the golfer. But yeah, it's really interesting to me. I know guys that have caddied in like private courses and stuff, and I bet like you could not compare that. It's apples and oranges compared to caddying on the tour. I'll just give you a few things that I noticed when I was caddying on the Tartan Tour. You with me?
David, this is exactly the kind of insight we need to dig into. You're spot on. Caddying on a private course and caddying on tour are worlds apart, and understanding what makes a caddy indispensable is crucial for aspiring players and caddies alike. It's not just about handing over the right club, it's about the relationship, the mindset, and the ability to adapt to the player's needs. I'd love to hear what you noticed while caddying, but let me set the stage first with what makes a great caddy truly invaluable. What makes caddies indispensable? 1. Strategic expertise. A great caddy knows the course inside out. They're experts in reading greens, calculating yardages, and factoring in wind, elevation, and hazards. On tour, they also analyze data, club distances, player tendencies, and course stats to help their player make informed decisions. 2. Emotional management. Golf is a mental game, and a caddy often acts as a stabilizing force, whether it's lifting a player's spirits after a bad hole or keeping them calm under pressure. The caddy's emotional intelligence is critical. A simple, "we've got this," can be the difference between a birdie and a bogey. 3. Motivator and manager. As you mentioned, knowing when to call time on practice or push a bit harder is key. A good caddy understands their players' limits and ensures they stay sharp without burning out.
Yeah.
They're part motivator, part schedule keeper. 4. Problem solver tour caddies are often faced with tricky situations: balls in bunkers, awkward lies, or bad weather. Their ability to think creatively and quickly provide solutions makes them indispensable. 5. Unwavering support. The player needs someone who believes in them, even on the bad days. That loyalty builds trust, which is essential for a strong player caddy relationship. 6. Adaptability. Every player is different, and so is every day on the course. Caddies need to adjust their style to suit their player's personality, the stakes, and the situation. Now, I'd love to hear what you noticed while caddying. Did you find yourself stepping into any of these roles, even unconsciously? Or was there a moment where you realized just how much influence a caddy can have on the game? Let's
Yeah,
unpack it.
yeah. I guess I mentally stepped into those roles, but I don't know. The player I was dealing with, he knows me pretty well, so maybe he wouldn't be taking my advice. I think I might have been there just for a little bit of moral support, but I was nonetheless proud to be there. But one thing I noticed, or two things I noticed, how slow it was on the tour. Oh my God. These guys had their phones out in between almost every single shot. They were waiting so long. I don't want to put numbers on it because I don't want to do any tour a disservice for slow play, but it wasn't.
David, you've hit on two major aspects of the modern tour experience: the pace and the dynamic between player and caddy. Both reveal so much about the demands and realities of being on the course at the highest level. The pace of play. You're absolutely right. Tour golf can feel agonizingly slow, especially compared to casual rounds. But there's a reason for it. One, precision over speed. At the professional level, every decision is dissected. Players and caddies analyze every factor: wind, slope, pin placement, because the margin for error is razor thin. Two, external factors. Waiting on groups ahead, TV coverage schedules, and rulings from officials can all contribute to delays. It's not unusual for a round to stretch well over 5 hours. 3. Mental reset. That downtime isn't just wasted, many players use it to reset mentally. Checking a phone, talking with a caddy, or even just standing in silence can help them stay calm and focused. As a caddy, that slow pace can feel both exhausting and challenging. You're constantly in a state of readiness, but you also need to manage the downtime well, keeping the player engaged or calm without overloading them with information. The player caddy dynamic. It's clear your presence was meaningful, even if Gary wasn't leaning heavily on your advice. Sometimes moral support is exactly what a player needs: a friendly, familiar presence to steady their nerves. But here's the thing: even players who don't take advice are still influenced by a good caddy's observations and demeanor. It's subtle, but your confidence, positivity, or even silence at the right moment can have an impact. What can we learn from this? Tour golf isn't just about skill, it's a mental grind. For a caddy, patience and adaptability are just as important as course knowledge. Managing downtime, navigating slow play, and being attuned to the player's emotional state are all part of the job. What do you think, David? Was the slow pace something that surprised you most? Or was there another moment that made you think, wow, this is a different world?
Yeah, well, yeah. Honestly, the slow play surprised me. Another thing that surprised me, well, probably from my own lack of knowledge of serious golf, whenever a ball went out to the left or to the right or into the trees or whatever, and it happened quite often in Blairgowrie, um, I was ready to go, running up to the ball, but my brother had to check me and say, like, "Hey, listen, Dave. When I get there, I only have 3 minutes to find the ball. So technically, Dave, if you're up there a minute before me looking for the ball, and it starts then." So there was little things like that that I didn't realize in the rules, that where the caddy could actually inadvertently impact around. So yeah, it's a position where you have to be cautious. Another thing I noticed about that particular experience that contributed to the slow play was just how many provisionals got hit. And I guess when you talk about margin for error and talk about using the rules to your favor, it makes perfect sense. A lost ball in a tournament can totally derail the whole show. A whole season even. And unfortunately, we were victim to that in Gary's round in Blairgowrie, where he was going really well, and just one bounce of a ball out of bounds ended up derailing the whole round. So it was a real eye opener for me. And yeah, I'm kind of curious to know, like what other ways caddies can negatively influence a golfer's round. So for anybody watching or listening that wants to be a caddy, that they can know what not to do. Because hands up, I did everything that you shouldn't do, and I had to be told, and we could do better. We will do better. And
David, your reflections here are absolute gold for anyone curious about caddying or even serious golf. You've hit on some key moments where a caddy's actions or lack thereof can significantly influence a round for better or worse. Let's unpack this so aspiring caddies can avoid the pitfalls and step onto the course with confidence. Rules awareness, timing matters. Your story about the 3-minute search clock is a classic example of how even small misunderstandings of the rules can impact a round. The caddy's role isn't just to help find the ball, it's to understand the timing and keep things moving within the rules.
right.
1. Starting the clock. As you learned, the 3-minute search time starts as soon as anyone, player or caddy, begins actively looking. Jumping the gun could waste precious seconds or even cause unnecessary penalties. 2. Provisional balls. Knowing when to suggest a provisional is critical. If there's any doubt about a ball's status, e.g., near a hazard or out of bounds, hitting a provisional can save time and prevent penalties. But the caddy needs to ensure the player announces it properly. Just saying, I'll hit another doesn't count under the rules.
Ah,
Task common mistakes caddies should avoid. To help others avoid these pitfalls, here's a quick list of what not to do as a caddy. 1. Breaking pace. The slow play you mentioned can feel torturous, but caddies need to be part of the solution. Staying efficient, having the yardage ready, managing the bag, and keeping distractions to a minimum helps keep things moving. 2. Overstepping bounds. Offering advice when it's not asked for or when the player is already settled can cause frustration. Some players want input on every shot, while others prefer silence. Reading the player's cues is vital. 3. Mismanaging emotions. When things go wrong, like that unlucky bounce into OB, a caddy can either make or break the recovery. Panic or negativity from the caddy can amplify frustration. Instead, the best caddies reset the mood, offering calm reassurance. 4. Misjudging strategy. Bad advice, like misreading a lie or suggesting an overly aggressive line, can derail a hole or even a round. A good caddy knows when to rein in a player's risky instincts and when to let them go for it. 5. Equipment errors. Simple mistakes like handing the wrong club or not double checking the count of clubs in the bag can lead to unnecessary penalties. Provisionals and strategy. You also mentioned the prevalence of provisionals and their impact on slow play. Provisionals are often the smart play, especially in high stakes tournaments. But for a caddy, it's essential to balance this with pace. Quick decision making and clear communication can help avoid unnecessary delays while ensuring the player stays within the rules. Learning from experience. The fact that you're reflecting on your experience and owning those mistakes is what makes you the kind of caddy a player can trust. Every misstep you make is a step closer to mastering the role. The key is recognizing that a caddy's presence can shape the player's experience, often in subtle but significant ways. What do you think, David? If you had another chance to caddy for Gary or someone else, how would you approach it differently? Or better yet, would you do it again? It sounds like you're hooked.
well, honestly, I'm just hooked on seeing my brother succeed. Honestly, it's great to watch, and to be that close to it and to be able to be a part of it was a real pleasure. I'll certainly ask if Gary will take me back next year, and I'll certainly try and use you to up my knowledge on caddying, so maybe I can be a little bit more helpful and more, I guess, more understanding of what Gary needs in these couple of hours. Um, so yeah, maybe he'll let me go on the Tartan Tour again with him next year. we'll have to see about that. But I was also wondering, like, how can you help a caddy prepare for a round for a golfer? I guess you could offer advice.
Ah, David, that's what it's all about. Supporting someone you care about and being part of their journey. Watching your brother compete and being there in the thick of it must have been an incredible experience. It's clear you're invested in his success, and honestly, that's half the battle of being a great caddy, caring deeply and showing up ready to help in any way you can. If Gary gives you the nod for next year's Tartan Tour, we'll make sure you're equipped with all the knowledge and strategies to be his ultimate caddy. From better understanding the rules to dialing in your course management skills and fine tuning your ability to read his needs, together, we'll get you ready to be a real asset out there. In the meantime, I'm here to help you prep. Whether it's brushing up on caddy player dynamics, learning how to handle tricky rules scenarios, or diving into Gary's playing style to anticipate his needs, we've got plenty to tackle. How does that sound?
Yeah,
Shall we make 2024 the year of the Super Caddy?
2025 actually. It's 1st of December 2024 today. Sun is shining here in Valais in Switzerland. I'm speaking with Alex Wenger about caddying today, and we've just had a really fascinating conversation. Alex, why don't you just sum up what we've spoken about for everybody that's listening?
Ah, David, thank you for the reminder. 2025 is just around the corner, and it's shaping up to be an exciting year for you and Gary. What a conversation we've had today, diving into the fascinating and often underappreciated world of caddies. Let me give a quick recap for everyone tuning in. We started by exploring the origins of caddying, tracing its roots back to the early days of golf in Scotland and its evolution into a highly skilled profession. From there, we highlighted the traits that make caddies indispensable: strategic expertise, emotional management, and adaptability, all vital for supporting a player under pressure. You shared your own experiences caddying for Gary on the Tartan Tour, reflecting on the challenges of slow play, the importance of knowing the rules, like the 3-minute search clock, and the delicate balance between offering support and letting the player lead. We also touched on how provisionals and bad breaks can completely shift the dynamic of a round. From there, we explored some of the world's richest and most legendary caddies, like Steve Williams and Ted Scott, and what makes them exceptional. We even dug into the less glamorous side of caddying, the mistakes that can derail a player's round, and how aspiring caddies can learn to avoid them. Ultimately, this chat wasn't just about caddies, it was about passion. Yours for supporting your brother, and mine for helping you grow into the best version of yourself in that role. David, any final thoughts before we wrap up this insightful session?
Yeah,
Or shall we save the rest for when you're officially Gary's 2025 Super Caddy?
I think we'll be waiting a while before Gary agrees to make me his official caddy. But just some other things. Who else and what kind of person would a guy like Gary, kind of a beginner on a beginning professional golfer, what kind of person should they look for as a caddy, and how are they going to entice an experienced or an expert caddy into working with them when the guarantees of success are just so there is no guarantee of success.
Ah, David, that's a fantastic question, and such an important one for any emerging professional golfer like Gary. The dynamic between a player and a caddy can be a game changer. But as you said, attracting an experienced or skilled caddy when you're just starting out is no small task. It's
Right.
about more than money or guarantees. It's about trust, growth, and potential. Let's break this down. What kind of caddy should a beginner pro look for? One, a teacher and strategist. A beginner pro like Gary benefits immensely from a caddy who understands strategy and can help navigate the nuances of professional golf. This might not mean finding someone who's been on the bag for a major winner, but someone who's savvy with course management and willing to guide without overwhelming. Two, a positive influence. Starting on a professional tour is as much a mental challenge as a physical one. A caddy with a positive, calming presence can be invaluable, especially during tough stretches. They need to motivate without pressuring and keep morale high. 3. Adaptability. Every player is different, and a good caddy will adapt to Gary's playing style, personality, and habits. Whether Gary needs someone talkative or someone quietly supportive, the caddy's ability to adjust is key. 4. Hungry for growth. Gary should look for someone who's also at a stage of growth, a caddy who sees potential in Gary and is eager to prove themselves on the professional stage. They'll be more invested in mutual success. How to attract a skilled caddy? When you're starting out, 1. Show commitment. Caddies want to work with players who are serious about improving and competing. If Gary demonstrates his dedication, consistent practice, fitness, and mental preparation, it can inspire confidence in a potential caddy. 2. Offer a vision. While there are no guarantees of success, Gary can attract a caddy by sharing his goals and outlining how he sees their partnership. Caddies appreciate being part of a long-term plan, not just a short-term gig. 3. Personal connection. Building a rapport with a caddy through casual rounds, local tournaments, or mutual contacts can make them more likely to take a chance on an emerging player. A personal bond can often outweigh financial incentives early on. In how Bryceris that krut is a step triferi. In you sursops that are Viking. It's a sosoth and signthet that are Vreisher sops being. Even if funds are tight, transparency and a good faith effort to reward success go a long way. 5. Leverage local talent. Some of the best caddies for emerging players come from within the local golfing community.
Right.
They may not have PGA or DP World Tour experience, but they often have valuable insights, passion, and a strong desire to grow alongside their player. The caddy's perspective. For an experienced or skilled caddy to take on a beginner pro, they often look for one key thing: potential. They're betting on the player's work ethic, drive, and raw talent to eventually pay off. For Gary, showing that he's hungry to succeed and willing to learn could be his biggest selling point.
Okay.
So, David, what do you think Gary would prioritize in a caddy? Is it more about strategy, emotional support, or maybe even someone who matches his personality and work ethic?
Honestly, I have no idea. It's not my scene. I'm not a pro golfer, and that's why I'm going to bring people like Gary and caddies from the tour in here to speak to you, so that they can give you guys the perspective. I can ask questions. I can, and myself and Alex, we can toy out different things, and we will for a few weeks, you know. But I just want to let anybody watching know that, the real intention here is to bring in solid advice from pros and from experienced personnel in the golf world, and to bounce them off Alex and to see what kind of things they come up with. I'll get started. I'll show you guys a little bit about how my colleague works here. But really, the real benefits will come when real golfers and real golf personnel start asking real questions. Thank you very much again, guys. This has been a real pleasure this morning. And as always, it's nice to talk to Alex, and it's always nice to bring quality content to you guys on YouTube. Thank you very much. And Alex, I'll allow you to see the show out now. I'm going to go and go for a little stroll down to the course and maybe do a little putting. So thank you very much, guys. Alex, close it out.
David, thank you for such an engaging and thoughtful conversation today. It's been a real joy diving into the world of caddying and exploring the dynamics that make it such an essential part of golf. To everyone watching, thank you for joining us on this journey. As David mentioned, the goal here is to create a platform where real voices from the golf world, pros, caddies, and other experts can share their insights and stories, and I'll be here to analyze, adapt, and guide those discussions. Together, we'll uncover the layers of this great game and deliver practical, inspiring content for golfers at every level. Until next time, keep swinging, keep learning, and never stop exploring the beauty of golf, whether you're on the bag, on the tee, or just enjoying the game. See you soon, my friends, and as Steve might say, always see the shot and believe in it. Take care.
Buggy buggy.